Good morning. Welcome to the Weather Desk. I'm Meteorologist Craig Moeller. We typically do the Weather Desk starting really right at 9 o'clock. We're on a minute or two later because we just got some images in from some of our viewers here in the 13 News Now viewing area, Southeast Virginia, Northeast North Carolina, of the Falcon 9 rocket launch that SpaceX launch from down at Cape Canaveral this morning, and it lit up the skies down over Florida. But we've got some cool images and video that were captured right here in Hampton Roads. So we're going to effort to get that into the show. Just a last minute thing. We're like, oh, we'll just delay for a second to get that in. It's pretty cool. You'll see that coming up. Here are some of the other big topics we have this morning at 9:30. So coming up in about 25, 26 minutes, we're going to have a statewide tornado drill for North Carolina. It's part of the Severe Weather Preparedness Week, so we'll talk some more about that. We're going to look back on the Great Circus Blizzard, the one that impacted Hampton Roads. We've got to look back at a historic system from decades ago. But some of the images of those elephants, the circus elephants, walking through the streets of Norfolk, through the snow, something to behold there. As we take a look, we have some other things to talk about. The severe weather outlook across the country. It looks like the coming days are going to be picking up with more activity as a strong storm system works through the central part of the country. There are leftover issues from all the wintry weather in the Northeast U.S., big pothole problems. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about how potholes form and the cost to repair your cars when you hit those potholes. We have some numbers for you on kind of average repair costs. It's a lot. You really need to take steps to avoid those potholes if at all possible. Down in South Carolina in the past month, there's been some more earthquake activity. Spoke to an expert about that. We'll share that report. And NASA discovers a new dark galaxy. We'll show you that and talk some more again about that Falcon 9 rocket launch from Cape Canaveral this morning as well. So plenty to go over. Of course, we've got the outlook for Hampton Roads as well. But we're going to start off by taking a look at the national picture and where the weather is rocking and rolling this morning back across the central U.S. There's a frontal boundary out there. You can see the wintry weather that's been such a big story for months and months and months, how cold it's been. The last of the snow has cleared the Northeast U.S. And at this point, as far as I can see, save for maybe some of the highest elevations up around the Cascades, there's really not any snow. Maybe a little bit, okay, still hanging in around the Rockies. Nope, it's pretty much past the Rockies. It doesn't look like there's much snow flying across the country. It's been a long time since I've been able to say that. We do have some warmer weather building in, and again, a little bit of snow in the highest elevations back in the Pacific Northwest. Here's what we have for you. A frontal boundary and a storm system cutting across the central U.S., that tail end of that front extending down through Texas. Keep this in mind because this is going to be a focus for strong to severe storms. Frontal boundary off to our north. This is actually going to lift farther to the north, so not a problem for Hampton Roads. And another storm system does bring more moisture into the northwest U.S. Want to take a look again at just the radar. We'll strip away the clouds. You can see the rain back across northern California, some snow in the highest elevations back across portions of Oregon up into Washington State, northern Idaho, and into western Montana. This area here, though, is going to be under the gun for some stronger storms. Earlier, there were some severe thunderstorm warnings out at this point. Just some pockets of heavier rain here across sections of Oklahoma and, again, pushing into Arkansas, back up into Missouri. And this is Joplin, Missouri here. You've got Springfield, Silver Dollar City, great areas to go and explore and just enjoy back in the central part of the country here, specifically southwest Missouri. But it's a little rough out there this morning with some heavy pockets of rain, a few stronger storms, and you can see the lines of showers and storms extend south of St. Louis out into Effingham, Illinois, and back over towards Indiana if you continue to run out that way. In fact, there are a few flood advisories still lingering from some heavier rain earlier through the overnight. Louisville, Kentucky's got some showers there. If you ever drive through Louisville and you're traveling along 64 there and you're right there in the downtown area before you hit the river, you look over and you'll see from the Louisville Slugger factory, they've got this giant bat leaning up against a building. Really cool. My kids always get excited when they saw the giant Louisville Slugger bat. That's right there. It's a wet bat this morning. As you can see, again, across the southern tier, things are quiet out around the Four Corners region, the Great Lakes. finally catching a little bit of a break right now. The potential, though, is there for strong to severe storms in the central part of the country. Not just a level 1 threat, but a level 2. That is a slight risk of severe weather from the Dallas area up through southeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, and southern Missouri, all the way across southern Illinois. The main threats here are going to be wind. There could also be some hail, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. You can see that hail threat from North Texas, again, through southern Illinois, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, all included in that hail threat. But there is also a slightly enhanced risk of tornadoes. And again, we've got a cold front there kind of pushing in, so there may be a little bit of an opportunity for a couple of isolated tornadoes to pop up. Again, it's just a slightly enhanced risk, but it is there, and it's something we're going to be watching. So let's take a little closer look. You can see down to the south, Waco, as I mentioned, through Dallas over to Texarkana. As you look back up Fort Smith, Arkansas, Little Rock kind of on the edge. Same thing with Springfield. I mentioned Joplin kind of on the edge. Looking over Paducah, Kentucky, they're in that area, along with Evansville, Indiana, Carbondale, Illinois. This is south of St. Louis, but it extends all the way over to just to the west of Louisville. So that's the area that's going to be watching for that potential today. Now, tomorrow, the threat is a little greater out to the west. You can see Texas into Oklahoma, the panhandles here, seeing that threat, and it extends up into the south central part of Kansas. With the tornado potential, it's not just a slight increase, but it's kind of that second level of increase back across the panhandles of Texas into Oklahoma. So these folks really do want to pay close attention through the day on Thursday. Snyder through Jayton over to Crosbyton and Guthrie up through Paducah. Again, this is into Texas and then Oklahoma. We're going to be watching this as you go farther to the north. Canadian, Shamrock, back over towards Elk City. These areas in that part of the country have that elevated threat of tornado development, mainly Texas, but into western portions of Oklahoma as well. Now, looking ahead, you also have that strong wind potential, but the thing I think could be of even greater concern along with the tornadoes, not just the stronger winds, but the potential for hail. And we've got this area hashed out. Whenever you see the hashes, that's special. That means not only is there a likelihood of hail, but it could be larger hail, maybe 2 inches or greater in diameter. So we have that potential for large hail from Midland, Texas, over to Abilene, Lubbock, up through Childress, Amarillo, Elk City again, up towards Woodward, and right around Guymon as well in Oklahoma. By Friday, this system shifts a little farther to the east, and now folks across Oklahoma, talking Oklahoma City, obviously, you want to watch there around Wichita, Tulsa, I would say back up to Kansas City, even central Missouri. You get into Columbia, over to St. Louis, up to Chicago. You've got this level 2 threat, but this enhanced risk where numerous severe storms are going to be likely from western Missouri through eastern Kansas and central and eastern portions of Oklahoma. The level 2 threat all the way down through Dallas and Waco, Houston just outside of that level 1 threat. So not as big a problem for Houston, most likely, but I would say north central Texas all the way up through Chicago. Folks need to stay weather aware on Friday. Now, as we talk about today, we want to make sure viewers across North Carolina are aware there is going to be a statewide tornado drill. That's going to take place coming up in about 17 or 18 minutes. It's part of the Severe Weather Preparedness Week in the Tar Heel State. Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson explains.
This week, March 1st through March 7th, is North Carolina's Severe Weather Preparedness Week. This is a statewide effort to help you and your loved ones prepare for the severe weather season. During meteorological spring, thunderstorms, damaging winds, hail, flooding, and even tornadoes become more common. During Preparedness Week, the National Weather Service and the North Carolina Department of Public Safety are focusing each day on a different severe weather topic, from thunderstorm and tornado education to creating a safety plan and kit. To practice those safety plans, there will be a statewide tornado drill on Wednesday, March 4th at 9:30 a.m. The National Weather Service encourages all businesses, schools, and those at home to participate in the drill. This week is also a great time to ensure that you have a couple of ways to receive critical weather alerts. One way you can receive weather alerts is by downloading the 13 News Now app on your phone. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson.
All right, Taylor, thank you for that update. Again, now it's about almost 17 minutes, 16 minutes out from that statewide tornado drill for North Carolina. Get ready for that. Now we're turning our attention to Norfolk, and you know, temperatures today, upper 60s. We're going to be into the 70s for parts of the region tomorrow and through the weekend. You know what, though? Totally different story 46 years ago, because during this week, way back in 1980, it was a much, much different story. People woke up to nearly 14 inches of snow right here in Norfolk. Here's a look back at the circus blizzard of 1980.
Come gather round and hear the tale of the blizzard of 1980.
The blizzard of 1980, also known as the circus blizzard, shut down Hampton Roads. The circus opened its scope in Norfolk right as the storm moved in. Despite the weather, the show went on. As families watched the performances, snow piled on the grounds and forced 2,300 people to stay the night.
We went to the early show and watched it, and then afterwards they told us that they had declared martial law and wouldn't let us leave scope. Across the street, Chrysler Hall opened up and emergency supplies got brought in. While the circus packed up their stuff to move on to the next town, the National Guard brought in tanks to start clearing the streets. The decision was made to have the circus animals walk the 3 miles to the train, leading to the iconic video and photos of the 22 elephants marching in the snow. It's always so interesting to look back and think on that event. And again, those circus animals just trudging along, had to get to the trains to move on to the next town. Right now, we're going to move on to another part of the country, and specifically the Northeast U.S. You know, they're still dealing with impacts from back-to-back winter storms last month. And while the snow may have melted in Massachusetts, it's causing new issues for drivers. Paul Burton spoke to people about the pothole problem in Waterford.
From giant craters in Newton to sinkhole-sized tire busters in Brighton, potholes are popping up in cities and towns everywhere.
It's pretty bad, just driving back and forth in the neighborhood.
Now that the temperatures are climbing and the ground is beginning to thaw, potholes become the bane of almost every driver on the road. On Norwood Ave in Newton, cars swerve at the last minute to avoid this pothole, and some even cross the double line to protect their car.
Sometimes you get a pothole big enough where you actually blow up both on the right side of your car.
It's a busy time at Sullivan Tire on North Beacon Street in Watertown. David Velasquez says tire repairs from pothole damage are a common thing here this time of season.
Keeps us busy, to be honest with you. A lot of tire repairs, a lot of tire alignments, even rims being cracked because of the potholes.
There are some cases when a city or town may be responsible for paying for the damage caused by potholes. It often depends on whether or not the community was aware of this issue. It's always best to check to avoid paying for damages like this one.
So this is an impact from hitting the pothole. Get a cut on the sidewall like that, which blows it out.
This tire belonged to Ned Moen. His son's car became the victim of a massive pothole, which is why he's replacing all of his tires.
My son was driving his car through Watertown Square, Galen Street, to get on the Mass Pike, and ran into a pothole that was very deep. And the tire just practically exploded.
Good telltale signs that something's wrong after you hit a pothole would be that drifting on the car, either left or right.
Susan Higgins says some roads are so bad, potholes are almost impossible to miss.
I probably will get an alignment at the end of this season once they start fixing the roads.
Yeah, those costs really do add up. Now, you might be wondering what kind of conditions cause potholes. Tim Pandagis explains how they form.
Did you know that the winter months are when potholes are most likely to form and ruin your day? Yeah, we all do our best to avoid them, but all it takes is a split second when you aren't paying attention, and boom, there goes your rim or tire. Let's take a second to get to know said pothole and see just why they seek to turn what otherwise was a good day into a bad one. It all starts with a crack in the road. Water then seeps in and collects underneath, softening the road. Now, temperatures, especially during the winter months, drop below freezing, and that water then freezes and expands, forcing the pavement upwards. Traffic moving over the roadways creates extra stress on the now weakened pavement. Dry weather then develops, the water evaporates or dissipates into the ground, leaving behind a cavity or hole underneath the pavement. The weight of passing cars and trucks forces the compromised road surface to collapse into the hole below. And alas, the pothole formation is complete. The hole, until repaired, will only continue to expand as traffic moves over it, making it more likely that you strike it on your commute to work or school. There isn't a way to combat these, though. You can be an exemplary citizen and report these potholes to VDOT or NCDOT. That way they can get out there and repair them quickly, saving another driver from encountering one. For 13 News Now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandagis.
All right, and as you might imagine, AAA always says they get an uptick in pothole-related repairs this time of year. They go on to add, this is not inexpensive. The average cost to fix damage to your car is around $600. To help prevent pothole damage, they recommend checking your tires, look at the tread depth, the tire pressure, suspension, and your alignment. If you can avoid hitting the pothole, you should slow down and avoid braking abruptly. But try to miss those potholes. We have a few of them here in Hampton Roads, but obviously with all the snow and the heating and the freezing going on up to the north and across the northeast U.S., it's been an even bigger problem up there. Well, we're going to turn our attention to South Carolina, and I've got earthquake reports turned on. Fortunately, there haven't been any earthquakes reported down in South Carolina within the last day or two. You can see there hasn't been anything reported there that our computers have been picking up. But down in South Carolina, at least 5 earthquakes have shaken the Midlands in the last month. Braulio Pimentel spoke to an expert about the increase in the activity.
In a frightening few weeks in the Midlands, 5 earthquakes hitting the Lake Murray area in just 30 days, sparking fear.
It's pretty scary because I'm 57. And up until about a week or 2 weeks ago, I had never been through an earthquake.
Fabian Fuentes lives near Lake Murray and says the tremors are unusual for the area and caught him off guard.
The most recent one, my mom and I are sitting at the bank on Harbison Boulevard, and all of a sudden, just as she had described the first one, it sounded like a large explosion or like a bomb had hit.
According to the USGS, last week a 3.0 magnitude quake hit the Lake Murray area, making it the 4th in that region in a month. Early Sunday morning, some areas of the Midlands were rattled again, but it was later found that was from 3 detonations at Fort Jackson. But a 2.2 magnitude quake did hit Lake Murray on Sunday.
My gosh, if we have another earthquake or two, is that wall going to give way? And if it gives way, obviously, there's going to be trouble.
The Lake Murray Dam holds nearly 650 billion gallons of water and is made to withstand earthquakes up to a magnitude 7 earthquake. In a statement, a Dominion Energy spokesperson saying, quote, "With safety as our top priority, the Saluda Hydro facility meets rigorous safety criteria. This includes the backup dam, which was completed in 2005 and is designed to withstand the unlikely event of major seismic activity." Dominion Energy says employees inspected the dam after the recent quakes and it continues normal operations. Dan Frost, a USC geologist, says South Carolina has several fault lines and earthquakes aren't new to the Midlands.
If you were to look back at a historical map of seismicity in South Carolina, we've experienced many more earthquakes. When Lake Monticello was dammed in I think it was the 70s, there were hundreds of earthquakes in a month because of the additional loading of the water onto the ground. I don't think this is anything out of the ordinary for South Carolina.
All right, you just heard from the expert. Nothing really that out of the ordinary, but people are noticing. It sure seems like it's been a little more active. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break, we've got a dark discovery from NASA. We're going to talk about that. We've got video and an image that we'll also share from the SpaceX launch this morning. Really cool. We were able to see it right here in Hampton Roads. That launch was from Florida. And we've got brighter days ahead in the forecast. If you are looking forward to some warmer spring-like weather, stay tuned right after this. Welcome back. All right, if you were up early this morning, you may have seen something up in the sky. This image was taken by Becky Thompson. This was the SpaceX launch. This was so cool. She took this image from Salem, and you know, as cool as the still image is, we have some video you can check out. Again, this was sent by Becky Thompson, and you can see, again, it shows that SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. It had launched from Cape Canaveral around 5:52 this morning, and it's part of the Starlink mission. It was mission 1040. But there you go, that light moving across the sky, the rocket, Falcon 9. And again, a successful launch this morning from Cape Canaveral. Love that. All right, speaking of space, NASA says it's found a galaxy that might have more dark matter than ever seen before. Scientists say the Hubble Space Telescope detected what they are calling, and check out this name, Candidate Dark Galaxy 2. It may be made up of, it's almost 100% dark matter. Ways of inferring that it's out there. So wild to check that out. Again, not only what we see, but what we don't see. And we look forward to hearing more from NASA on that. All right, we're going to take our attention now and talk about visibility. Things have gotten so much better. Early this morning, we had dense fog advisories out for North Carolina, but it is looking good as we take a look at our Thompson Creek Window Company sky view at the ocean front. Some surfers out there. We were noticing earlier some of the folks just taking advantage of a nice southwest wind. We still had a little bit of wave activity out there on the water. Yesterday's high was only 48. Our normal is 57. We did get a couple hundredths of an inch of precip, so a little bit of rain, not too much. We're about 2/3 of an inch below average. For the past week, we've had our shares of ups and downs, but it's mostly been cooler. So far, though, things are turning, and you can see so far today we've made it up to 59. We're going to see temperatures up into the upper 60s this afternoon with a lot of sunshine across the area. A few more clouds into the evening, but look ahead at what's coming. Low 70s tomorrow, mid 70s Friday into Saturday, and looking really comfortable into early next week as well. A few showers out there, maybe late Monday or Tuesday. We don't have any of that right now, not across the immediate area. As we pick up our futurecast, you're going to notice the skies mostly sunny, temperatures into the upper 60s, mid 60s in Virginia Beach, and a few spots inland may reach the low 70s. Just a really pleasant afternoon for you on this Wednesday. Few showers pass by off to the north, not a problem for the metro area. As we look overnight, skies will be partly cloudy to variably cloudy, and then tomorrow another warm day, temperatures up into the lower to mid 70s, and that heat is going to continue as we look forward to our Friday and Saturday into Sunday. A little bit cooler, but temperatures still well above average. Yesterday we were 9 degrees below average. Today we should be a good 10 degrees or 11 degrees above. Big difference, and again, the rain chances will remain pretty low. Slight chance for a shower off to the north overnight, but I think for the most part we're looking pretty good, and Thursday looks great, so does Friday. Out on the water, I mentioned the conditions improving. We do have south winds 5 to 10 knots on the ocean, and the sea is about 3 to 4 feet. Occasionally you get a slightly higher one. Let's talk some more about the forecast then. South side, upper 60s, maybe mid 60s right at the beaches, and then inland areas into the low 70s for some. Skies are mostly sunny for much of the day. Mid to upper 60s for the peninsula, middle peninsula, a little cooler, especially around Matthews. 64 at Gloucester. We'll see cooler conditions on the eastern shore. Outer Banks, well, we'll see 60s there, but low 70s expected. Edenton, Hertford, Gatesville, and Ahoskie, really, really nice. Elizabeth City looking good with the temperature around 70. Overnight tonight, lows near 53. Again, variably cloudy, mostly sunny tomorrow. Enjoy the sunshine. We've got more coming up as we get into Friday, 75. 75 on Saturday. We're springing ahead as daylight saving time begins Saturday night, so we get those later sunsets coming up into next week, and I am looking forward to that. Slight chances for isolated showers Monday and Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. We'll see you next time.